I'm kind of wondering, because see, Angie seems to be an observer in this. Like, she wasn't part of it. But I'm also kind of wondering if Angie did it and she, like, passed out after doing it. And then came back to her senses or something. But I don't think Angie's part of the game. All those who took refuge in the guest house decided to hole up in there until the typhoon passed. There, if everyone watched everyone else, they should be able to prevent further crimes from both inside and outside. However, they couldn't do that without any breaks until the typhoon passed. Once again, their actions left a weak point open, and they were faced with yet another tragedy.
用事で表へ出たシャノンちゃんとカノン君がいつまでも戻らないんだ。
ジョージ兄さんが騒ぎ出し、全員で外に出てシャノンたちを探すことになったんだ。
シャノンさんはバラ庭園に倒れておりました。
Get up, Shannon. It's no time to sleep. It's raining.
ほいたわしな。
生きててくれと願ったさ。でも僕は彼女が死んでいることを認めなければならなかった。
無論私も検視し彼女の死亡を確認しました。
2人が出かけた時、私たちはゲストハウスの戸締まりを確認するためにいろいろとやっていました。だから私たちにはみんなアリバイがないのです。
僕が殺すものか？僕に殺せるものか？
ジョージお兄ちゃんには殺せないね。
その後、ジョージ兄さんにだけはアリバイがあることが分かったんだ。シャノン殺しに限ってはジョージ兄さんには不可能なんだ。
逆に言えばジョージの兄貴以外なら誰にでも殺したわけだ。
犯人に悪用されるのを防ぐため、シャノンさんの持ってたマスターキーはその場で破壊しました。
For some reason, I just like the concept of that. Oh god, we can't have that happen. Immediately start stepping on it.
シャノンが殺されると同時にカノンは永遠に行方不明となるわ。以後カノンは殺された者として扱う。
That's a little weird.
カノンのマスターキーも破壊されたものとして扱うわ。
まあ無粋だから割愛するけど、シャノンが死んだんだからそういうことになるわよね。
つまり死体はなくともシャノンとカノンは同時に殺されたという解釈。
そうなるわ。
順調に事件が進んでいくな。
This was the crime of the fourth twilight. The scene was the Rose Garden. There are no locks or doors. It isn't a closed room, so the master keys no longer have anything to do with this. Then the pace of the crimes began to accelerate. Everyone took shelter in the guest house. They carefully sealed all the doors and windows, locking themselves in a closed room. However, several closed room murders had already occurred. Could locking themselves in a closed room do anything more than invite another tragedy? After arguing fiercely in the cousins' room about finding the culprit, they decided they should split up again, double-check Nanjo Kumasawa and Goda's testimony. And there they learned that a tragedy had occurred once more.
ゴーダさんも熊沢さんもこの傷では即死だったでしょう。むごたらしい死に方です。
この傷で生きてるわけあるもんか。死んでるよ、郷田さんも熊沢さんも。
戸締まり確認とか見回りとかいろいろやってたからな。今回もまた俺たちには全員アリバイがない。
そんなことはないよ。見てごらん。あんな殺し方をしたら絶対に犯人は返り血を浴びるはずなんだ。
でもいとこ全員もそして南條先生も返り血は浴びてないね。
私た
Well,
ち
I,
全
for
員は
one, don't like all this blood all over my clothes.
南條先生には郷田さんと熊沢さんは殺せない。
となれば犯人は俺たち以外の誰かであることは明白だ。
何者かの侵入を
I sure am tired of getting blood splattered all over my clothes.
ゲストハウスの戸締まりは完璧だった。
犯人はやはりマスターキーを持っているのかもしれません。
それはありえねえぜ。マスターキーはもうここで死んでる2人の2本以外存在しない。
現存する2本のマスターキーがこうしてゲストハウス内に残っている以上、ゲストハウスは完璧な密室なんだ。
The dialogue feels super forced, but I'm kind of finding it enjoyable.
完璧でないから人が死んだんだけどね。
This was the crime of the 5th and 6th twilights. The scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Goda and Kumasawa's master keys were also destroyed, meaning that all master keys have now been lost. This is a terrible idea, really, because for some reason there's no keys to get anywhere anymore, and now we can never go anywhere. Now no one can break into this closed room guest house. At least that should have been true. Ah, but it keeps going. This time, Dr. Nanjo was the one who was killed. He was killed in the entrance hall of the guest house. It was far too foolish of him to come here alone to check that everything was locked.
死んでる。殺されてる。
僕でさえこれは
Even
死だかもしれないと一目でわかるよ。
戸締まりは完璧だよ。
I guess they have to keep up with the idea that instant deaths are deaths that couldn't have gone fishy, like someone getting stabbed and then the culprit running away and then them running up, locking the door and dying.
密室なのにどうして？
じゃあ俺たちの中に犯人がいるってことになるぞ。
それはありえない。状況から判断して私にもマリアにもバトラにもジョージ兄さんにも南條先生は殺せない。
Maybe it was Angie.
そもそもゲストハウス内で南條先生を殺すことは不可能なんだ。
しかもこれつまりこいつは南條先生がゲストハウスを出ていない証拠だ。
じゃあ南條先生は殺せないってこと？
You know what? You know why it feels so forced? It's because everyone's saying things without providing any evidence and everyone else is just taking it as fact. That's why.
なのになんで殺されてるの？
No one can answer that innocent question. This was the 7th twilight. Once again, the crime scene was the closed room known as the guest house. Various bits of evidence made this crime seem even more impossible. Then the tragedy reached the 8th twilight, the final one. They lost their Umineko save data. True tragedy. By now, it was clear that holding up wouldn't keep them safe. Jessica might have chosen anger as a way to numb her fear. She flew out of the guest house in a rage, searching for the culprit that she was sure hid somewhere outside. George, Battler, and Maria hurriedly chased after her. Then outside the building, they found Jessica lying on the ground. It was, as anyone could tell by looking, a gruesome corpse. Instantly killed. Dead.
即死だったろ。
これで生きているわけがないもんね。
俺たちは3人でずっと一緒だった。俺もジョージの兄貴もマリ
It's
ア
the
も
hobo.
ジェシカは殺
It's
せ
the only
ねえ
thing
ぞ。
that makes sense.
私たち3人にジェシカは殺せない。
マリアちゃんが人なんか殺すもんか。マリアちゃんには誰も殺せないよ。
What a child.
ありがとう。ジョージお兄ちゃんだって大人は殺せないよ。子供は殺せるけれど。
Okay, so I'm starting to come to the realization there might not be a single culprit necessarily. We could be in the case where there's multiple culprits and they swap out. You know, who cares about... We're more concerned with what could actually happen than, like, what they would actually do. Because they're setting up parameters here. That's kind of interesting. Talking about killing a kid, but not an adult. So maybe he killed a kid previously? It's like we're in a terrible game. This was the 8th Twilight. Crime scene was outside. However, the three who chased after Jessica have alibis. George, Battler, and Maria couldn't have killed Jessica. So is there really someone hiding on this island apart from the Ushirimiya family? The curtain is lowered on this tale for now.
これで私の物語はおしまいよ。
なかなかよくできてるじゃない。ちゃんと朗読したならベアとのゲームに混じってても不思議じゃない物語だったわ。
それは認めるぜ。よくできてた。
まあここから朗読して感激に耐えるものにするのが骨なのであるが、
しかし何が何だかさっぱりだぜ。まともに考えたら犯人は後ろ宮家以外の謎の人物ってことになっちまう。
それは魔女を認めるも同じだ。他にも犯人に協力する共犯者の存在などが疑えるだろうな。
そもそもあの紫の文字は何なんだ。新しいルールか。
紫の発言という話を分かりやすくするために作ったルールよ。紫の発言は重要な発言であると認識してくれれば結構よ。逆に言えば紫でない発言は無視することも可能かもしれない。
ほう、そりゃ親切な話だな。
She really did go out of her way to make this easier on us.
では紫の発言は赤き真実に準ずるのか。
Though I'm kind of wondering if that's part of her plan to trip us up, somehow.
紫の発言は赤き真実と同じ力があると考えていいわ。ただし一つだけ例外がある。それは犯人は紫の発言で嘘をつくことができるということよ。
So it's not the red truth then.
なるほど。逆に言えば犯人以外は嘘をつけないってわけ。
Oh, okay, I see. So while this is just like the thing where when we were in the we were doing the quiz and it's like two of these people are telling lies. So if they're not the culprit, they can't lie. But the culprit might lie, so you can't take everything to be true. But you can take most of it to be true? If you can figure out who the culprit is, the rest of it's true.
紫の発言。これがどうやらベルンカステル教のゲームの鍵であるわけだな。
そうよ。私のゲームのルールの前提を説明するわ。
The definition of culprit is one who murders. It's possible for a culprit to lie. It's possible for a culprit to lie even before committing murder. Characters who are not culprits only speak the truth. So I think there can be multiple culprits, but there can be a culprit who's not yet done a murder, like, you know, near the beginning of the game, who can still lie up until they do their murder. And after, obviously. Characters who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit. So that's interesting. I think this sort of solidifies my idea that there might be multiple culprits, and as they might say in a second, culprits can cooperate with each other, but they can't You can't have non-culprits cooperating with a culprit. Culprit must carry out all murders directly by their own hands, so no tricks set up where something shoots a dart at their neck while you're sitting in another room sipping tea. The culprit must not die. Like, must not die ever. So are we saying these last three people, one of them's the culprit, or presumably multiple of them are the culprit? The culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story. So no hobo in the woods today. And no Kenzo as well. Purple statements are as absolute as red truths, unless they're told by the culprit. However, the culprit alone may lie with purple statements.
以上よ。
犯人の定義は殺人者であるか。もっともな話だぜ。
犯人は嘘をつく可能性がある。これももっともな話であるぞ。
犯人は殺人以前にも嘘をつける。そりゃそうだろうな。
They're a bad person. Of course they can lie.
犯人でない人物は真実のみを語る。ありがたい話であるな。
犯人でない人物は犯人に協力しないですって。
これはつまり口裏を合わせる共犯者がいない
I
という。
think that's a pretty powerful part of figuring it out right there.
やられたな。犯人をかばってアリバイを捏造している奴がいると疑ってたんだが。
おあいにくね。
Oh, and more importantly, I think Angie isn't part of this story because of that statement as well. So Angie's not the one who killed them.
犯人は全ての殺人を自らの手で直接行う。つまりトラップなどの遠距離殺人、間接殺人はないというわけだ。
犯人が死ぬことはない。つまり殺害後密室を構築して自殺ってことはないってわけか。
Oh, that's true too. I didn't think about that.
それはつまり死者は犯人ではないってことにもなるわね。
うん。それは地味に重要な情報であるぞ。
犯人は登場人物の中にいる。未知の人物が島に紛れ込んでってのはなしってわけだ。
Sorry, Erica. Can't stay on the island today.
登場人物は金蔵を除いたいつものお約束の17人よ。それ以外は登場しないし関係もない。
紫の発言は赤き真実と同じ価値がある。ただし犯人のみ紫の発言で嘘がつける。これが厄介であるな。
ゲームの肝ってところだろうぜ。それでゲームの前提とやらは終わりか。
最後に付け加えるとしたら朗読者は嘘をつかないという、つまりセリフでないとがき部分に嘘は存在しないということね。
Okay, so we have a reliable narrator.
やってもよかった
That's
けれ
good.
どゲームが複雑になってめんどくさいし。
魔女の特権を自ら手放すとは大した余裕であるな。
それでも勝てるつもりなんだろうぜ。
私からは以上で全てよ。これ以上は何の質問もヒントも出すつもりはないわ。
立ち会い人として最後に改めて宣言するわ。以上の情報で犯人が特定できることを保証する。
よし、了解した。
So it's not an unsolvable case. That's good to know as well.
腕が鳴るぞ。そなたと共にまた同じミステリーに挑めるとはな。
ああ、楽しませてもらおうぜ。
This is a real game between you and me. I recommend finding some paper and something to write with. That is, if you really intend to fight me. If you do get completely stuck, maybe you should listen in on Battler and Vito's reasoning. We'll have those be hints for when you get stumped and can't move forward. Still, I'd rather fight you one-on-one. If you plan to enjoy our little duel, then try defeating me by your own power alone without relying on hints. So let's enjoy ourselves, shall we? Enjoy this game that I've crafted just for you. Are we breaking the fourth wall here? I sense some breakage. Something's breaking. Okay, so let me save really quick, just as a point of reference for being able to go back on this. So you can read this again. Show the rules. Check the purple. Okay, this is a good system. I like this. And then you see red truth that kind of dictates the game board. Alright, so based upon, let's go back to the rules again. Based upon some of the rules we have, a culprit must be among the characters appearing in the story, and a culprit must not die. As far as I understand it, that should mean that one of the surviving characters is the culprit, because they must not die. They can't be a culprit at some point. It doesn't say the culprit, it says a culprit. Must not die, so they cannot die at any point. They cannot be a culprit for a certain crime and then die later. So, hold on. Let me see. So check purple by character. I'm trying to figure out, I'm pretty sure I've got this right, but I'm trying to figure out who is the survivors after all this ended. So based upon what we see, the only survivors at the end of this are Maria, Battler, and George. So according to just those two rules we've got there, one of those three is the culprit, potentially. There could be more. All three of them could be a culprit, in fact. But one of those three is the culprit. Players who are not culprits may not cooperate with a culprit, but I'm still suspicious that all three of them could be a culprit. And it's possible for one of them to lie. And to go along with that... Whoops. To go along with that, we were told specifically in red that these 6 people here are dead. So, I think we can use that. Wait, hold on. Let me check the rules again. It's possible for a culprit to lie, but that does not mean they have to lie. They can, in fact, tell the truth. I was kind of hoping to use that. Dang it. I could go back and see who said something about the first people being dead, and then we confirm that they are in fact dead. So I can't use that. Let me think about this for a minute. Okay, so I came up with something here, right? If they're dead, they cannot be the culprit. Because they're not the culprit, they cannot lie. So I can trust every statement that everyone in the story says except for these 3. I think that's an important distinction. Let me think about this for a second. I do find this slightly odd. I don't know how important it is to the story as a whole. We've got we got first twilight, second twilight, then we skip the fourth twilight. There's no third twilight. And see, I would think maybe it's because they're grouping people together, but that distinction is actually made separate here by the 5th and 6th twilight. Now that might just be the story getting, squished together a little bit. But I wonder if that has anything to do with anything. That seems suspicious. Also, I was looking through this. This has nothing to do with what we're trying to do here. And I don't think it's the case for anybody else. Let me double check through here, right? So everyone's got their normal artwork. click next, it goes to old artwork. And I was just sitting here trying to read through the text, and I noticed that. It's kind of funny. You know, I'm sitting here thinking the same thing, that it has to be one of these three. But then I'm kind of falling into the rut once again of how could they have opened or closed the door without the key? Because they can't do that. And none of the servants are going to be culprits because they're all dead. And they can't help a culprit. Which, you know, unlocking a door then would be helping them. So, how would they have locked those doors? I think there might be something important in that statement. I'm getting a weird feeling about this, right? So, let's go to check purple by chapter. So you see that it says the death of each parent was confirmed by their own child. And I thought there might be something going on with that. I was thinking about that for a while. And I was thinking, you know, maybe if one of the three siblings, one of those three remaining siblings lied, they could still potentially be alive. But if I go on to the second Twilight here, we get to culprit of the first Twilight really did kill 6 people. That would seem to tell me that everyone in the first Twilight is dead. But it's worded a little... It's got some room in there. And I'm kind of wondering about that. When did this statement take place? Did this statement happen... Did this statement happen after they found the other dead bodies? Because if that's the case, there could potentially be 2 people from the first Twilight still alive. And then when they killed the second set of people, then there would have been the culprit of the first Twilight did really kill 6 people. That statement would still be correct. Without necessarily the first 6 people all being dead. And I'm very suspicious about that. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so here it is again. This statement does in fact take place after they found Cross and Natsui dead. But I also came to think of this as well, that this could be an overarching statement for the entire story. Right? So, the culprit of the first Twilight did really kill 6 people, but maybe it only killed 4 of them. There were 4 that were left, or there are 2 left alive. Then they killed 2 people somewhere else in the story. Because it doesn't mention, like, the culprit. It says of the first Twilight. So, the way that's worded makes me think that, first off, there's obviously more than one culprit that would lead to that theory. But there's also the possibility this is an overarching statement over the entire story, considering it's Red Truth, that's probably true. Where there's probably multiple culprits, and then another culprit assisted them, you know, later on in the story, somehow, possibly. Or, like, I'm thinking maybe there's 2 people alive from the first Twilight, or all 6 of them could be dead, and another culprit assisted them with the, you know, final 2 killings. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Going back to my idea of the idea that, where is it? The death of each child was the death of each parent was confirmed by their own child. That could potentially be a lie for all 3 of them, because Rosa could potentially not be dead. You could have Battler's parents potentially not be dead. Or you could have George's parents potentially not be dead. And it keeps getting more complicated.